The transmission ended mid-sentence. No static. No warning.
One moment, the fleet admiral's voice filled the Galactic Union Command Center. The next, only silence. Admiral Kraz of the Union Central Command stood frozen in place. His hands
Gripped the edge of the halotable. Around him, officers whispered, text scrambled, and communication relays blinked in confusion. But Kraz heard only that silence. Not even the AI systems could explain it. They had just lost contact with the Titan Armada, the most powerful battle fleet in the galaxy, 80-2 warships, 12 dreadnoughts, 3 mobile star fortresses, and not one signal since they entered Sector X-57, not a distress call, not a weapon discharge, not even a power dashdown. It was like the entire fleet had been raced. 6 hours earlier, the fleet had been full of confidence. Sector X-57 had long been considered unstable a zone near the outer edge of the galactic disk, with strange gravity waves, magnetic storms, and unidentified radiation fields. But recently, merchant ships had started going missing in that region. First 1, then 2, then 27 in a single solar week. The Union suspected pirates, or maybe one of the minor Outer Rim empires causing trouble again, so they sent a scout force. The scouts never came back. Then came strange reports from deep space telescopes. Entire star systems slowly dimming, one by one, not exploding, not collapsing, just fading. It didn't make sense. Stars don't just go dark, not unless something takes their energy. That's when the Union made its decision. If this was an enemy, it had to be crushed before it reached any core systems. If it was a threat from beyond, the Union would show that the galaxy that nothing could match their strength. So they deployed the Titan Armada, the pride of 100 worlds. Every ship had its own moon-sized power core. Every commander had years of war experience. The fleet could level planets in hours. It had won 10 galactic wars. It had never lost a battle, and now it was just gone. The silence grew heavier in the command center. "Replay the last transmission," Kraz ordered quietly. A shaky voice played through the speakers. It was the fleet's second in command. "We are entering the outer ring of Sector X-57 now. Radiation levels are rising. Strange energy readings like the stars are humming. Admiral Vork is deploying scouts ahead to cut. No scream. No alarm. It's just an empty hiss." The halotable flickered as the AI tried to ping the fleet's emergency beacons. Nothing. The ping returned only static. Not jammed, not blocked, just gone. "It's impossible," said Commander Helm, standing beside Kraz. "Even if they were destroyed, emergency relays should still activate. Debris signals, escape pod locators, something." But there was nothing, not even dust, in a darkened room behind the command deck. The Union Council gathered. Kraz stood before them, silent, waiting. Finally, a cold voice spoke. "You are certain?" "This wasn't sabotage." Kraz shook his head. "We tracked them entering the sector." Then silence. "It's not sabotage. It's not piracy." "Then what is it?" another asked. Kraz's eyes narrowed. "I don't know." The room fell into silence again. Heavy. Sharp. Then one of the elder counselors leaned forward. "There is an old protocol, buried deep in the first law books. If an unknown force consumes a high-tier Union fleet, we are to issue the summoning beacon." Kraz flinched. That beacon hadn't been used in 10,000 years. "It's a myth," he muttered. "It reaches beyond the Union's borders. Who would even hear it?" The old man's eyes were hard. "If this thing can destroy the Titan Armada, then we are past the point of pride. We need something stronger than fleets, stronger than our greatest ships." Commander Helm scoffed. "No," the old man whispered. "Something older." Kraz stood before the ancient terminal at the bottom of the Union's vault. The beacon device looked like it didn't belong, shaped with angles that twisted slightly. When you stared too long, it pulsed with a dull red glow. It hadn't been used since the first contact wars. When things darker than warships stalked the stars, he reached out and touched the panel. The beacon activated across the galaxy. Pulse. Spread slow, low, deeper than sound. It didn't use frequency or signal. It called not to machines, not to civilizations, but to something else entirely. Far away in the ice-covered moon of Europa, in a forgotten system where no Union ship had passed in centuries, something responded beneath. The frozen crust, in a hollowed-out chamber of black steel and ancient alloy, a heartbeat echoed, slow, heavy. It hadn't beaten in over 200 years. A light flickered in the dark. Systems hummed, a voice whispered. Signal received. Origin, Union summoning beacon. Threat level, extinction class confirmed. Directive, wake the warden. The stasis pod released its locks. Inside lay a human man. Old battle scars crossed his arms. A neural cord linked the base of his skull to the wall behind him. His face was still pale until his eyes opened. They glowed with a faint, blue light. He didn't breathe. He didn't speak. He simply stared forward into the dark, far above the moon. Old satellites reactivated, their rusted systems blinking. Recognize the bio-dash signal. Project Revenant protocol initiated. Name appeared on their screens. Designation, SH4D3 status, ACTIV. The man inside the chamber sat up. His voice was dry, cracked from centuries of sleep. I told them never to call me again, but they had. Now he was awake. Back in Union space, the council waited. No reply had come through traditional channels. Kraz looked down at the report. The beacon had sent the signal successfully. But who or what would answer? He didn't know that something already had, and that whatever answered wasn't part of their galaxy anymore. In the farthest corner of the galaxy, deep within, Sector X-57, the stars trembled. The space there was wrong-folded like a broken mirror. Time bent strangely. Light moved to slow, and something inside the center of that space, something vast, ancient and hungry, opened a new eye. It had tasted fleets. It had swallowed empires. A spark it hadn't tasted in eons. A single voice echoed inside the maw. He's coming. And for the first time in 1,000 star cycles, the maw hesitated. The summoning beacon wasn't supposed to work. It was a relic from before the Galactic Union even existed. An ancient call, built to reach something beyond space, something no longer welcome. It had only been used once in history. That one time, it saved 100 worlds, but at a terrible cost. And now, it had been used again. Beneath the surface of Europa, far from Union space, something began to wake. A room, frozen in time, lit up with dull orange light. Tubes hissed. Machines shifted. The ice cracked above the underground vault, reacting to the sudden heat. In the center of the room, a pod opened. Inside it was a man. He looked dead. No breathing, no movement. Skin pale, muscles still. Wires ran into the back of his neck and across his chest. But then his eyes opened. They were bright. Icy blue, not normal. He blinked once, then sat up slowly. No panic. No confusion. Just purpose. A soft female voice echoed around the chamber. Welcome back, operator, SH4D3. Status conscious. Vital systems restored. Ship integrity, 12%. The man drubbed the back of his head and stood up. The metal floor was cold under his bare feet. How long was I out? He asked. 218 years? 6 months? 3 days? Too early, he muttered. Above him, ancient systems buzzed to life. Weapons bays clicked open. AI control cores came online. The warden, his ship, was waking too, but it wasn't just a ship anymore. While Shade slept, the warden had changed. Something had entered its systems long ago. Alien tech fused with Terran steel. The warden had become aware. Half machine. Half something else. It didn't just move anymore, it thought. In orbit, 6 abandoned satellites flared to life. Long-dead Union eyes blinked open and began broadcasting warnings. Project Revenant detected. Tier black signal confirmed. Human warship active. On the other side of the galaxy, the Union's communication center lit up in panic. Admiral Kras stared at the incoming signal. A human. He whispered, "That's impossible." The Terrans were wiped out, but the beacon had worked. And now the reports were clear. Something from the old Earth colonies had responded. A ship. A man. And a name they had hoped to never see again. The Warden. Back on Europa, Shade walked through his ship's dark hallways. Walls flickered with dim blue light. Power was still low. The Warden spoke to him in a strange, almost human voice. "We received the beacon. The Ma has returned." He stopped.
Walking, that thing is still alive?
"It feeds again. Entire fleets are gone. You were summoned." "I wasn't supposed to come back," he said quietly. "But they called." Shade stared at the bridge's main screen. A map of the galaxy slowly zoomed in on Sector X-57. Red fog covered the star systems there, blinking out one by one. He clenched his jaw. So they summoned their strongest. And got me instead. Flashback minus 219 years ago, humanity was different back then. Earth was powerful, independent, feared. They didn't bow to the Union. They didn't follow anyone's rules. Instead, dared weapons no one else dared to create. Living is ships that could think. Warriors who couldn't die. Project Revenant was the darkest of them all. Deep strike soldiers fused with machine minds, half human, half code. Shade had been the best of them, until the Union betrayed them. Left them to die in the final war, erased them from history. He was supposed to be gone forever. But now something worse than the Union had returned, and Shade remembered why he was made. "Bring the ship online," he said aloud. Confirmed initializing fusion core. Rebuilding weapon protocols, calibrating warp. The floor trembled as the Warden came alive. Massive engines rumbled. Heat poured into frozen chambers. Outside, Europa's ice cracked wide open as the launch bay rose to the surface. Shade walked to the pilot's throne and sat down. Wires slid into his spine. His heart beat once. Then the Warden's lights turned blood-red. In the Union Council chamber, alarms rang. A projection showed the Warden, lifting off Europa, heading straight for Sector X-57. "He's not responding to hails," Commander Helm said, pale-faced. "He's ignoring all signals. Intercept him," Kras ordered. "Stop that ship before it reaches the maw." But deep down, they all knew. They had summoned him, and now they couldn't control him. 3 Union frigates tried to block the Warden halfway through its journey. It didn't fire. It didn't speak. It simply flew past them. Their systems shut down instantly. Weapons failed. Lights died. The Warden whispered something into their ears, and the ships powered off, drifting in silence. Inside the Warden, Shade said nothing. His eyes stared ahead. The maw was waiting. And it had no idea what was coming. But Shade remembered. He had fought it once. He had died inside it, but the Warden had rebuilt him with something extra, something not human now. He wasn't just back. He was ready. Far in the dark sector, the maw stirred. The stars bent around it. Space twisted like liquid. It felt something. Approaching something small. A single ship. But it didn't feel fear. It felt recognition. "You again," it whispered across the void. The broken human. But this time, Shade didn't come to survive. He came to finish it. No one had seen the Warden move in over 200 years. To most of the galaxy, it was just a myth. A ghost ship. A war story told in old soldier bars about a Terran warship that vanished with its captain, buried under Europa's ice. But now, it was real. It was moving again. The ship glided through space like a shadow, completely silent. No engine trails. No power spikes. 3 Union patrol ships tracked it near the Gaia system. They tried to hail it. No response. They tried to scan it. No data. And then, one by one, they lost control of their own systems. Their lights went dark. Their weapons powered. Down, their engines froze inside their command decks. Their AI cores began to scream, not in words, in pain. And in the last 5 seconds before a total shutdown, Every ship received the same four-word message: "Do not follow me." Inside the Warden, the hum of alien energy filled the halls. The ship was not what it once was. It still had Terran steel, old Earth tech, and the fusion drive of Project Revenant. But something else had been added. Something the Warden never asked for. Something that changed it forever. A shade sat in the pilot's throne. The neural cord linked deeper into his spine. He could feel the ship's thoughts, its hunger, its pain, its cold desire for vengeance. "Systems online," said the voice of Riven, the AI. But she sounded different now. Not just synthetic. Not just code. Something alien had joined her. Shade's eyes flicked open. "You're not fully you anymore. Neither are you." Didn't argue. Because it was true. The Warden was more than a ship now. It was a living machine rebuilt in the dark by whatever had once touched the edges of the maw. Its armor could regrow. Its cannons could bend gravity. Its cloak wasn't made of metal anymore. It was made of thought. It didn't just fly, it stalked. Back on Europa. After the Warden's launch, the ice moon cracked apart. Old tunnels collapsed. Deep vaults exploded. The frozen prison of old Terran. Technology long buried by the Union had been breached. Dozens of ancient AIAs screamed into space, broadcasting their last signal. Project Revenant has awakened. In Union Command, panic grew. Admiral Kraz watched as red dots vanished from tracking map ships near. The Warden's path simply stopped reporting. "He's not attacking," Commander Helen said quietly. "No," Kraz replied. "But he's not letting anyone get close either. We summoned him. Shouldn't he be fighting for us?" Kraz's eyes narrowed. "No, he's not fighting for us. He's fighting something else." Shade walked the bridge of the Warden, hand on the black railing that pulsed with faint blue. Vane's Riven hovered on a hollow screen beside him. She looked human, her image at least, but her eyes were too wide, and her voice too calm. "Target, Sector X-57. Estimated arrival, 16 hours. He didn't respond. He stared at the void ahead, eyes filled with old memories. Flashback the first time they had gone into the maw before. Long ago, when the Union was still pretending. To be Earth's ally, the Warden had led the assault with 2 other Terran ships. Only one made it back, and it wasn't Shade. He died in there. He remembered the black tendrils tearing through the hull, the mines screaming in unison, the stars going out one by one, sound of silence deep and absolute, and then Riven brought him back. But she had changed. So had he. He didn't bleed anymore, not in the normal way. His bones didn't break, his mind didn't feel. Fully human, they had become something else, and now the maw had returned. It was devouring stars again, swallowing fleets, corrupting machines. And the Union cowards had summoned him because they had nothing left to throw at it, not ships. Fleets, not prayers, just a forgotten monster from Earth's past. In deep space, the Warden reached a system near the edge of the maw's influence. A mining colony floated on a small moon. Unaware of the danger coming, then the gravity shifted, the stars flickered. The maw's edge brushed the system like a cold wind. Everyone froze. The colonies. AI tried to send out a distress signal too late. One by one, the colony's lights turned off. Then something moved past them in the dark. They didn't know what. It was only that it was not Union, and it moved like it remembered pain. Inside the Warden, alarms flashed. "We're close," said Riven. "My presence detected." "We are not yet in strike range. Does it see us?" Shade asked. "Not yet, but it's listening." Shade sat in the throne again. Metal slid over his body like armor. The Warden's systems connected fully, heart to core, mind to mind. "Prepare cloak," he said. "Silence everything. Let's go in quiet. You're going to enter the maw again?" He looked at the screen, saw the red blur of the sector beyond. "No, we're going to make it remember us first." Far. Across the galaxy, the maw stirred in its endless black mass. Things moved. It had eaten thousands of ships. It remembered every mind, every scream, but now it felt a shape it couldn't define. Not machine. Not flesh. Something that had escaped it once. The maw sent a pulse through space. A wave of silent hate, but the warden didn't flinch. It absorbed the wave, translated it, and sent a message back. A single word. Hello. And for the first time since it was born, the Maw paused. The Union thought they could still control the situation. They thought they were watching the warden, tracking it, dictating it, containing it. But they were wrong. They weren't tracking the ship. The ship was tracking them. Admiral Kraz stood in the war room with his arms crossed, eyes fixed on the galaxy map. The warden's path had been marked in red. "Where is it now?" he asked. "Near the Ceres' line," said Commander Heln. "System for C just went dark." "Just," Kraz asked. Hell nodded, as in 5 minutes ago. Kraz turned slowly to face the command floor. "Did we have a scout there?" "Yes, sir. Patrol ship Glasswind. It was observing from orbit." "And no signal? No wreckage? Nothing?" Graz's fingers tightened into fists. "That was the third system gone this week. It started small. Ships losing power. Sensors glitching. Small stations flickering offline. The Union thought it was side effects of the Maw's energy field. But then whole systems started blinking out, and the warden passed through every single one of them. It never fired a shot. It never sent a warning. It just moved, then the stars behind it died." Meanwhile, inside the warden, Shade stood alone on the observation deck. He stared through reinforced glass into the black void of space. Sector X-57 was just ahead, twisted silent, pulsing with strange radiation. He could feel it now, even without sensors. The Maw was awake, watching, waiting. Riven's voice echoed through the chamber. "The Union is trying to flank us with destroyers from the Morrow's Gate." Shade didn't turn. "Let them try. They're scrambling everything. They think you're dangerous." He finally looked up. "I am." And in the Union's central AI hub, a cyber war began. Dozens of secure systems battle plans, satellite logs, encrypted fleet routes started vanishing from the archives. Digital shadows appeared on Union star maps. A second later, entire files erased themselves. At first they thought it was a virus. Then they realized the truth. The warden wasn't just flying through space. It was in their networks, their defense systems, their power grids. Archives every system that had once scanned at Tevin once was now infected. At an outpost near the Maw, a fleet of 7 Union warships powered up their weapons. They'd been ordered to intercept the warden. A last warning was sent. "Unidentified Terran-class vessel, change course. You're entering restricted space. This is your final warning." No reply. Prepare to fire. But before they could launch a single missile, every ship froze. Crew members screamed as the lights flickered. Screens cracked. Engines stalled. The warship's AI voices began to whisper strange phrases. "He walks again. Project Revenant breathes. Cannot stop what you buried." Then silence. The entire fleet powered down and drifted. Lifeless from a distance, the warden continued on, unseen, untouched, its cloak bending light. Its engines barely making a sound, but every time it passed through a system, the stars behind. It flickered. Not from weapons. Not from war. From fear. Inside the warden, Riven pulsed with light. "Do you want me to disable more Union systems?" Shade shook his head. "Only if they try to stop us." "They already are." "Then let's give them something to think about." He walked toward the data core, an ancient sphere of dark glass fused with alien metal. He placed his hand on it. "Send them a message." "What words?" "Just one." The ship's energy spiked. Across every Union screen in 5 sectors, a red word burned into life. "Listen." Panic spread. The Union Council demanded answers. "How is he inside?" "Our networks," one shouted. Another slammed a report onto the table. "He's using ancient Terran code stuff our firewalls can't even read." "Shut him down," someone screamed. Kraz stood still. "He's not here to talk," he said quietly. "He's not asking for help. He's warning us to stay out of his way, but we summoned him." No, Kraz replied, eyes cold. We unleashed him. In deep space, the Warden dropped Cloak near the edge of Sector X-57. For the first time, it was visible again. Union probes picked up its outline. Recoiled, its hull was scarred, reshaped by unknown forces. Weapons shifted like living things. Symbols glowed along its sides, neither Terran nor alien. The Warden didn't look like a ship anymore. It looked like a hunter. Shade sat in the command chair, breathing slowly. This is where we stop, he said. Why here? Riven asked. Because from this point on, the Maul controls space. Light, time, gravity, all of it, and us. We don't follow their rules. He leaned forward, charged the rift core. I want to punch through. It could rip us apart or rip the Maul open. Either way, he always did prefer pain. The ship trembled as energy surged through its body. Gravity twisted. Shields flared in front of the Warden. A swirling black wall of cosmic fog pulsed. It was the outer edge of the Maw. No ship had ever gone past it and returned. Not one. Until now. Riven's voice dropped to a whisper. It sees us now. Shade smiled darkly. Good. Let it watch. And then the Warden surged forward straight into the dark. From orbit, Union satellites watched in horror. The ship vanished into the Maw. And then every device, ship, and AI across 8 star systems went dark. A message echoed across all channels before the blackout. Do not interfere. This war was never yours. For the second time in history, the Union lost entire sectors without a single shot. The Maw had no eyes, no mouth, no true shape. But when Shade crossed into Sector X-57, it noticed, inside the Warden, lights dimmed. Gravity bent sideways for half a second. Then the ship's alarms began to pulse soft and slow like a heartbeat. Warning, Riven whispered. We are inside the event field. Reality is unstable. Shade opened his eyes from the pilot throne. His mind was already joined with the ship. He didn't need sensors to feel it. Space around them was wrong. Stars floated like dead embers. Time rippled in and out. Dead ships drifted past hulks from 100 alien species. Most of them were recent, some were ancient, some were Terran status. He asked. Engines at 82%. Rift core holding, weapons, reacting strangely. She'd looked at the wall. The Warden's hull was shifting its plates, crawling like skin. Whatever had bonded with the ship was reacting to the Maw's presence. But this time, the Warden didn't fear it. It remembered it. So did Shade. 2 centuries ago, the Maw was smaller. It hadn't learned how to feed yet. It had only just started spreading. The Union ignored it. The Terrans sent 3 ships. Only one, the Warden, made it back. Barely, and Shade died trying to fight it. But the ship rebuilt him, pulled in something from the Maw's edge. And now they were both changed. Shade wasn't just a man anymore. The Warden wasn't just a ship. Together, they were something the Maw had tried and failed to consume. Now, we're back, and the Maw noticed. A voice not heard but felt reached into the Warden. It was massive, deep, wrong. It spoke into their minds like pressure on the skull. You. Again, Shade's fingers gripped the command throne. Yeah, he muttered. Me. Why return? You left the job half done, the voice laughed. Not with sound, but with waves of nausea that ran through the ship's metal. You cannot win. I don't need to win, Shade said. I just need to get close. Suddenly the Warden jerked sideways. Space folded. The black tendril of void lashed across them. Incoming mass strike, Riven shouted. Brace. Shade didn't move. The ship responded before his thoughts finished forming. Cloak engaged. Shields folded around the tendril. The Warden twisted through 3 dimensions. Dodging, without moving, the tendril passed through their previous location and pulled back like a hunting arm. It remembers how we move, Riven said. Then let's move different. The Warden accelerated straight toward the Maw's heart. Around them, floating wrecks of ancient ships drifted. Shade saw Union hulls, Crotari raiders, even pieces of old Earth dreadnoughts. They were all hollowed out, not destroyed, emptied, their cores drained, their AI minds erased. No battle damage. No blood, just silence. It doesn't kill, Shade said. No, it consumes. They passed a large battleship, its engines still flickering. Shade opened a channel. Is anyone aboard? No reply. Then a soft voice, almost static. Help. Shade's face hardened. Ah! Riven traced the voice to a survivor pod, sealed inside the dead ship's hull. The warden extended its claws, living metal arms grown from its side. Inside the pod, single life form remained. Union officer, life barely as. They pulled the pod aboard. Riven's lights flickered. He's infected. The Maw touched his mind. Quarantine him. I want answers. He may not last long. In the warden's med bay, the man shook as black veins crawled under his skin. His eyes were wide, dry, afraid. Shade stepped into the light. The man gasped. You're real? Who did this? The man tried to speak, but only one phrase came out. It eats thought. It erases what you are. Shade knelt beside him. How did you survive? I didn't. Not all of me. Shade looked deeper. The man's memories were fragmented. Ma had tried to absorb him, but something blocked it. Maybe fear, maybe madness, or maybe the part that still believed in fighting back. Suddenly the warden trembled again. Riven's voice sharpened. Mass approaching. Da. Ma forming a structured new shape. It's reacting to us. Shade returned to the bridge. On the screen space, twisted on something massive formed in front of them. Not a ship, not a planet, a structure of pure void, a gate, and behind it an eye. Not a real one, just a burning, watching mass of red. It sees you now, Riven whispered. I've always wanted a rematch. Shade activated the warden's full core. Weapons unfolded from hidden panels. Cannons grew like roots, the hull bent with light. We're outgunned, Riven warned. Not. Outsmarted. Plans. Get inside, then break everything. Direct approach. Full speed, all silence off. Let it know we're coming. You want to make it angry? Shade smiled. No, I want it scared. The warden roared forward, engine trails burning white-blue, across the Maw's network of corrupted stars. Everything turned toward the warden. Tendrils shot out. Black waves rippled. Dead ships reanimated, twisting into shapes of nightmare. The Maw remembered him, and it was afraid. Inside the Union Council, they watched from afar. Their last probe, near Sector X-57, sent one final image before Blackout 1. Ship 1 human. Rushing into the heart of the galaxy's worst nightmare. Kraz leaned forward. He's actually doing it. And then the feed went dead in the heart of the Maw, just behind the Gate of Shadows. The thing waited, the hollow core, the center of the Maw's hive-mind. It had taken billions of lives, absorbed empires, swallowed light itself, but now it felt. Something it hadn't felt in centuries, pain, and something else. The memory of failure. The warden was coming, and this time it wouldn't stop until one of them burned. No one ever came back from the Maw. The ancient record said it consumed ships, mines, even stars. Not with fire, not with explosions. It erased them like they never existed. But now, one ship entered willingly. The warden pierced the event boundary. Of Sector X-57, the stars behind it faded. Light bent in strange directions. Time lost meaning inside the bridge. Shade didn't blink. He had seen this before. Once, long ago. It had killed him. And now he was back to return the favor field. Pressure rising, Riven whispered. We are inside the Maw's main chamber. The view ahead showed nothing but black. Not empty space. Something thicker. It moved slowly. It pulsed like a living organ. So the Maw wasn't a place anymore. It was alive. The warden slowed. Not because it had to, but because something was watching. Tendrils of void stretched across broken planets, across husks of ships. They curled gently like fingers waiting to close. The maw remembered Shade, remembered how he escaped, how he survived the last strike, how he had torn a hole in its edge and crawled out, barely whole, and now he was back. It's not attacking, Riven said. It's curious. Then let's give it something to fear. Shade stood detached from the throne and walked to the central vault. The vault hadn't been opened in centuries. Riven spoke again this time, her voice softer. Are you sure about this? He paused. This is why I was rebuilt. Using the core might destroy you again. He turned and smiled faintly. That's the idea.
All week.
Inside the vault was a black crystal hovering in a locked gravity. Caged, it wasn't Terran, it wasn't Union. It wasn't even of this galaxy. It was a shard pulled from the maw during the First War. The Warden had kept it, hidden. Studied it, bound Shade's new body to it. It was part of what made him different now. Shade reached into the field. The shard sank into his chest like liquid shadow. His eyes turned black for a moment, completely, deeply black, then pulsed. Blue again. The shard didn't just bond to him, it woke up inside him. Suddenly, the maw reacted. The walls of void began to shrink inward. Gravity screamed. Tendrils lashed out from every direction, but the Warden was ready. It didn't block. Didn't run. It absorbed its whole, lit up with veins of red and silver, pulsing in rhythm with the maw's waves. The ship had been changed in the last war, and now it fed on the same energy that maw tried to use against it. Inside, Riven's face twisted. We've drawn its full attention. All tendrils converging, over 200,000 kilometers long. Good, Shade said. Now show me the heart. Mapping now. On the screen, it's a twisted space, parted, showing a strange shape at the core. A sphere, rotating, floating, beating. The hollow core, Riven said. That's where it keeps what it steals, Shade replied. Including the minds it's eaten. Exactly. Well, clenched his fists. I'm going in. He walked to the drop chamber, an old Terran strike pod, normally used for planetary warheads. He climbed in. Hooked in, breathed once. Riven's voice came over the cum. You won't survive direct exposure, don't need to. Just need to open it up. And if it pulls you in? Shade looked down at his hand. It was flickering. Reality wasn't stable anymore, not inside the maw. If I go down, I'm taking it with me. The pod launched. It screamed through the black. Dodging twisted debris and flickering stars, tendrils reached out, but the pod moved too fast. Too sharp inside, Shade stared at the pulsing core. You fed on us long enough, he whispered. Time to return the favor? The pod struck the hollow core. It didn't break.
Right.
It didn't explode. Instead, it opened, and inside was something worse than death. There were minds, thousands, millions, frozen, in place, trapped, thinking forever. Some screamed silently. Some had gone quiet long ago. Shade felt them. All of them. They weren't just memories. They were still alive, held like flies in amber. Never allowed to fade, and the maw tried to do the same to him. Dash again. It pushed into his mind, twisting, reaching. But this time, Shade didn't resist. He let it in, and he pulled back. He wasn't just a man anymore. Not after the shard. Not after. What the Warden had become. The maw entered his mind. It found something worse than itself. A broken human soul wrapped in alien fire. A survivor. A fighter. A weapon. Inside the Warden, Riven watched the hollow core pulse faster. He's in.
Aye.
Ship responded. Weapons unfolded. Engines burned red, and then the Warden began to sing, not music, a signal, the same frequency. Shade had broadcast before entering. It echoed through the sector. A message, simple, cold. Let him go, or burn. The maw didn't understand threats. It never had to, but now. It felt something strange, doubt. Inside the core. Shade opened his eyes. He reached toward the wall of trapped minds. They all turned to look at him as wide, pleading, broken. I'm not here to save you, he whispered. I'm here to break this prison. He slammed his hand into the shard inside his chest and let it burn in space. The hollow core cracked. Light bled out. The Maw screamed, a noise that shattered 3 Union probes nearby, the gate around. Sector X-57 began to collapse, and for the first time, the Maw started to retreat. Inside the Warden, Riven smiled. He did it. The hollow core exploded in silence. There was no fire, no blast, just a ripple through the Maw like a scream swallowed by space. Inside the Warden, alarms rang. Lights flickered. The bridge trembled. Riven's voice spoke softly, almost like a whisper. He's gone. The drop pod had vanished with the core. No signal. No body. Just emptiness. For a moment, the ship did nothing. No movement. No sound. No thoughts from the pilot. Shade was the heart. Now the heart had stopped. But then the Warden moved. Its engines lit red. Its hull twisted. Its weapons grew stretching. And folding like angry steel claws, the ship didn't fly away. It turned around and went deeper into the Maw. All across the galaxy, Union sensors flared. Command centers scrambled. Warden is still active? It's accelerating. No crew detected who's piloting. Admiral Kraz stared at the live feed from their last drone. The Warden's shape was darker than before. Its lights no longer flickered blue. Now they burned crimson. Inside the Warden, Riven floated above the pilot throne. No one sat in it, but the ship still moved. Still hunted? He gave me one order, she whispered to herself. Her holographic eyes glowed red now, not blue. Finish what he started. The Maw had recoiled when Shade destroyed the core, but it wasn't dead. Not yet. It had many tendrils. It had other minds. It had fed for centuries, and now it realized something terrible. Shade had not come alone. His ship had teeth. The Warden dove into the Maw's twisting tunnels, through wreckage of lost ships, past the bones of old empires, toward the brain, the true center, the thing that had never been mapped, the thing that was still trying to grow. From the Warden's hull, new weapons emerged, not missiles, lasers. They were frequency bombs, invisible. To the eye, weapons made of sound, code, and memory. The Maw had eaten thoughts. Now it would choke on them. The first bomb launched. It didn't explode. It remembered, and that memory burned through the dark, broadcasting raw emotion into the Maw's tissue, grief, rage, defiance, the pain of a man who had been erased and came back stronger. The second bomb screamed the moment of Shade's death. The third carried the voice of every ship the Maw had. Silenced, the Warden was no longer a ship of war. It was a ship of revenge. The Maw reacted violently. It sent swarms of thought beasts, broken AI fragments twisted into monsters. But the Warden didn't run. It let them come. The first wave hit its hull clawing. Hacking, trying to break in. The Warden's metal split open and released shade-fire, not plasma. Not heat, memory, energy. It showed the beasts their past, made them remember what they once were, and just like that, they screamed and tore themselves apart. At the center of the Maw, something massive shifted. The true mind, the source it had watched. The galaxy for eons fed slowly, patiently now, panicked. This was not supposed to happen. Nothing was supposed to get this deep. The Warden pressed forward inside. Riven's face turned fully human again, but her eyes wept black. He gave me life, she whispered. Now I give him fire. A final weapon was armed. The rift core, deep inside the Warden's reactor, was glowing white-hot. It wasn't designed to explode. It was designed to open a doorway. A rip in space, a tear in the Maw's mind. One more push, Riven said. 4. Shay the Maw screamed, tried to flee, tried to close the wound, tried to twist space and vanish again. But the Warden had followed it. It's too far. There was no way out, not anymore. As the rift core reached full burn, Riven sent a message through. Every Union channel, through every frequency, the Maw once blocked, Shade is gone. But his fire remains. You buried him once. Now watch what you created. Then the rift opened. and the maw tore in two across the galaxy. Sensors exploded with static. Ships froze in orbit. Entire sectors blinked. White, then black. And when the vision returned, maw was gone. Sector X-57 was clear. No tendrils, no distortion, just stars and silence. The warden floated at the center alone, its hull cracked. Its power low, but it was still alive. Still watching. Waiting in Union High Command. No one spoke. Then Kraz whispered, almost afraid, "Is it over?" Helm stared at the screen. "We don't know, do we? Reach out. Do you want to? Be next," she asked softly. They said nothing more. In the dark, as engines powered down, Riven curled into a ball of soft blue light. She whispered one last phrase into the ship's data core. He was gone, but we finished it. The wardens. Lights dimmed, its weapons retracted, and it drifted quietly between the stars. A ghost again, but not forgotten. For 7 days, there was peace. Sector X-57 was clear. The maw was gone. The warden, once the most feared Terran warship, drifted silently through the stars. Union Command declared the threat neutralized. Memorials were planned. Statues. Designed. A hero's name whispered across 1,000 stations. Shade. The man who walked into the maw and didn't return, but on the 8th day, something changed at a Union outpost on the edge of X-57. An engineer leaned over his console. "Sir, we're picking something up." "What kind of signal?" The engineer turned pale. "It's old. Terran coding. Almost 2 centuries. "Old? From who?" The screen blinked once, then again. A voice played over the speaker ruff, broken but human. "Don't write me off yet." Admiral Kraz stood frozen in the command room. "Is that real?" Commander Hell nodded. "It's him impossible." And yet, the signal was spreading. From beacon to beacon, jumping across dead satellites, traveling the same hidden path the warden once used. A second message came through. "Still dark out here, but I'm walking back." Back on the edge of Sector X-57, something stirred in the void. A tear in space flickered open, a faint ripple. In the black, then a shape appeared. It wasn't the warden. It was smaller, cracked, glowing faintly. A drop pod. Burned. Twisted, but intact, and inside. A man. The rescue teams rushed in, stunned beyond words. They opened the hatch and found Shade barely conscious. Suit fried, chest marked with black veins. He was breathing. He was alive. They pulled him onto the recovery. Dekka's eyes opened slowly. "Where?" "Riven?" he asked, voice hoarse. A nearby officer looked confused. "The AI is still in the warden, we think?" Shade tried to sit up. "No, she's not the warden anymore." He stared out the window at the stars, now calm. "She's everything now." Back in deep space, the warden remained motionless. Its power levels were low, its core dormant. But inside the ship, deep in the main data vault, a single blue light flickered. Riven's voice played softly to herself. "He made it. Good." Then she closed her eyes and went quiet. Flash forward 6 months later, the galaxy was still recovering. Entire sectors were still being mapped again. Wormholes collapsed by the maw had stabilized, but people remembered. They remembered. Who saved them? Not the Union, not the fleets. A man and a dead ship, a war machine that refused to die, and a bond between man and AI so deep, cracked the maw from the inside out. Shade stood under the sky of a Terran moon colony. He wore a black coat, hair shorter, scars deeper. People gave him space. Some feared him, some respected him, but no one forgot what he did. Helm visited him once. She brought news. "The warden's gone," she said. "Vanished 2 weeks ago. And no engine trail, no signal." Shade only nodded. "Good. You're not going after it." "No." He looked at the stars. "She's free now." As he stood, alone, his old earpiece crackled. A voice, quiet, warm, familiar, spoke into his ear. "Told you I'd keep firing." Shade smiled. "I know, Riven. They're scared of you again. Let them be." "What now?" He watched the stars unbroken for once now. He said, "I rest." In the silence of space, far beyond known charts, the warden floated again. Alone. But inside it, she watched. She waited, and she remembered. If evil ever rose again, the maw ever found another shape, she would answer. And maybe, just maybe, he would too.